Hello, this is Gail Bevis, your narrator. And this trip, 1992, was my first trip to Upernavik, Greenland. I brought my klepper, and this year happened to be severely affected by the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines, which caused the ice to go out much later in Greenland. So it was quite an interesting experience for me, my first time in Greenland. Today I'm finally ready to disembark from Upernavik. And this is the boat. This map is of my first day paddling when I left Upernavik and paddled into Torsut Passage. These are our conditions on the water. I'm running this passage, which is about 8 miles from Upernavik to the east. You can see there's a mixture of different kinds of things happening here geologically. In the afternoon, the fog has finally lifted enough so that I could commence paddling once again. But it certainly didn't look very nice this morning. I finished a 1 mile crossing roughly. Thing that is worthwhile. I am at this moment at a place called Aappilattoq. Background, it's where I have come from. We are experiencing a rather cold July, and this year in Greenland the seasons are a month behind. Normally there would be quite a bit less visible snow. Here is my kayak resting in the shallows. Clarity of the water in these granitic areas is delightful. And this will give you an indication of the temperature. I love these moments when a video camera can so easily capture what's in the water. I think we're in for a spell of some rather nice weather. Here's an example of different densities of snow compressed and reflects light quite differently. It's a beautiful turquoise light coming from this iceberg. I took a picture of this iceberg about an hour ago. It certainly has changed. It looks like it's very quietly disintegrated while I was busy elsewhere. One of the most disconcerting things is to witness a large iceberg roll over. That is really quite an experience. They bob back and forth for quite a while after they have changed their center of gravity. Here's a small piece of an iceberg which has just broken off moments ago, right in front of a larger one. This area has a very beautiful bottom, and right in the center is a sea urchin, too far down for me to gather. Because the rocks are loaded with a white feldspar, it's very easy to see what is down there. There's small fish down there and pteropods swim along. Here's a large pteropod. We're at 72 degrees 51 minutes 30 seconds north and 55 degrees 40 minutes west. There are some more of those lovely sea urchins, which are just a little too deep for me to get to. They're down about 5 feet.
Just to show you some of the convenient snow aprons left over that I can conveniently slide my kayak up on top of.
And last year's snow is still melting, and that indicates the high tide mark. Tide is coming in. Tide in this area ranges 2 meters. In the sandy areas, there are clams and mussels, which are very good eating. And yet, right along the edge of the water, they're very, very wide. Now we're coming out of the passage. This looks like a pretty solid iron. Do wonders for a compass.
Show you a rough map of this general area.
Coming from the east, which is a very good direction. I am in a fjord which is directly east of Upernavik mountain. In contrast to moving bergy bits, this berg is very likely to be grounded. When an iceberg is grounded, around it the tide washes whirlpool. The iceberg underwater has a much larger bottom. You watch, this iceberg is just broken up somewhat, and it's just very slowly turning. And by contrast, you can see a little bergy bit. It's moving right along here, working its way down the bay. Here's another good example of one in the foreground isn't moving, and the one in the background is breezing right along. We're looking at a rather pretty iceberg right now. It's green and a turquoise blue. This is the plethora of bergy bits we have, which I passed through yesterday in my kayak on the way here.
Now I'm paddling on the back side, the inland side, up Aappilattoq Island, up behind it trying to get around the north side. I thought I could make it through the ice and paddle around the backside to Aappilattoq, the village, on the west side, but that turned out to be just not possible.
At the moment I'm working my way up through this ice because there's an interesting view over beyond, and it happens to be the ice cap of Greenland. This is Upernavik ice fjord, and that's why there's such a great jumble of ice here. I'm behind Aappilattoq, and I'm not sure if I can make it around, but we're having some fun experimenting. Well, it's one thing to read about ice, and it's another thing to actually be here and to see it. We're looking at, off on the horizon, the ice cap of Greenland. I'm not sure how much farther I can go here. Getting a little squeezy here and there. It's really scary when these things break. And this is as close as I'm going to this ice fjord. We are at 72 degrees 50 minutes. I think this is as far north as I will paddle my kayak on this visit to Greenland. It's just getting a little too crowded here. And the problem is, when one of these bits decides to go over, it's a rather violent experience. I really don't want to find out firsthand what it's really going to be like. So this is as close as I want to get today.
These are my conditions this morning. Here's a very beautiful example. Color in a little bergy bit. It's a very calm day. Just to show you a rough map of this area. And you can see the change in tonality of color as the water gets deeper here. This bergy bit is, a couple feet long. It gives you a feeling how fast this little piece is going along. The smaller the pieces, the faster they move. Here's another one. You can get a feeling for what the currents are doing here. Here you can see the common seaweeds in this area, which is kelp and fucus and some other things. I don't know what they are. And in this area there are red sea anemones. And crabs are here as well. In this area, you can just see poking out of the water mussels. And I ate some the other evening. They are very, very good eating. Much tastier than and richer than what you get in New England waters. Quite a pleasant surprise in eating.
Down in here are some more big sea anemones, busy capturing food as it goes by.
Here we have a good picture.
This morning the barometer is going down and we're having a consistent west wind. And we've had this 5 to 10 knots all night. It's one of the unpredictable parts of paddling a kayak. When you're making a crossing, you never quite know just what may happen while you're in the middle of coming across. And that's the difficult side of kayak paddling. In preparation for my trip, because Greenland is notorious, especially the west coast, for having a lot of ore bodies, compass cannot be used reliably. I purchased GPS, degrees north and 55 degrees west. The chart I purchased here in Greenland, and my solar panel is functioning just fine. Otherwise, my video camera, which I'm using at this moment, would not be functioning. My clipper is the Area Swan Expedition model with a black Hyplon bottom. I have brought a sail along with me. It's their clipper drift sail, and a jib which I made is 1/3 the normal size they offer. It hasn't been windy enough to sail, but it's always nice to have that option available. This is Gail Paris, your narrator. Thank you for watching my video. I have come and gone to Upernavik, Greenland since 1992 because it is such a fascinating marine and mountain environment.